Welcome back, webheads, to the next episode of Spidey Swing-Bys. I'm your host, Christian Ashley, a systematic geekology, as we continue on through every chronological appearance of Spider-Man by release order. Today's episode, of course, being Amazing Spider-Man number 18, where we deal with some interesting shenanigans, shall we say. But before all that, we need to discuss the book, everything else that was happening in Marvel. So, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 18. This was released in week 33, 1964. The release date is August 11th, 1964. The story is entitled The End of Spider-Man, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Steve Ditko, inked by Steve Ditko, lettered by Sam Rosen, and edited by Stan Lee. So, with all that in mind, what else was going on in Marvel this month? Well, as per usual, plenty. Shall we start with Daredevil number 4, where we have the first ever appearance of the Purple Man as he faces off against Daredevil in some early Marvel Silver Age what is it, Silver Age right now? I'd have to look it up again. Nonsense. It is nonsense. Obviously a far different character than what you're probably used to seeing in the Netflix shows as well. But still an effective enough character in his own right. One that deserved to come back. So that's it for Daredevil number 4. Next up, we have Journey into Mystery 109, where Thor, mistaken to be a mutant by Magneto, which I can kind of see why, must defeat his magnetic menace in a very fun story. We get the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants there, the X-Men as well. It's a very, very fun story. And I mean that legitimately. Yeah, if you get a chance, you should check it out. Next up on the docket, we have Tales to Astonish 61, where Giant Man and the Wasp must deal with Egghead's android, a very forgettable android character who just kind of serves as a dumb brute, and that's about it. And then we have the Hulk, once again, as spies are working against him in the country to make the army go up against him. As they attack him for what the spies are messing with. We'll get a reveal about that spy later. Not too long from now, I think. So that's it for that part of that month. The next part, we have Avengers number 9, where we get the first appearance of Wonder Man, where he is tricked by the Enchantress and the Masters of Evil into fighting against the Avengers. There's a sacrifice play. He becomes a staple of the Avengers for many years to come, but it all starts here in issue number 9. Next up, we have Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, number 11. Oh, I forgot to put the Fantastic Four then. Let's put the Fantastic Four one there. No image. Fantastic Four 32, where Jonathan Storm proves himself to be a good man by sacrificing himself to protect the Fantastic Four from the Invincible Man, who we find out is revealed to be the Super Skrull in disguise. Wouldn't you have liked to see that issue cover? Well, too bad, because I forgot to do it. So instead, we have Sergeant Fury number 11 here in that same month, where he and the Howling Commandos are put to the test when they receive terrible orders from above. A pretty good issue overall, I'll say. Then we have Strange Tales 126, where the Human Torch and Thing are forced to fight each other under the direction of the Puppet Master and Mad Thinker, and a not bad story for the Human Torch parts of Strange Tales. I'll take it. Then we have Doctor Strange, and a far better story as per normal, finally meeting Dormammu to fight against him, and we also meet an unnamed Clea for the first time. Lots of really good first appearances in this month. Strange Tales alone is like worth the price of admission. Then finally we have Tales of Suspense 59, where Iron Man must face off against the Black Knight, all while Captain America, in his own story in the magazine, deals with Avengers monitor duty and a thug named Bull who tries to steal from them while he's just dealing with his World War II and Bucky PTSD flashbacks. A forgettable villain, but an interesting story told from Cap's perspective. So that's it for that. We're now into The Amazing Spider-Man 18, where we have some very interesting, fantastic, it's all over the place, this issue. I quite enjoy it overall, so let's just get into it. We start off with the news from the last time of Spider-Man running away from the Green Goblin as he and the Human Torch were fighting one another. Because he had heard the story of Aunt May falling ill, goes after her and finds that she's okay, but now the entire world, especially J. Jonah Jameson, has labeled him a coward. We get reaction shots from the villains and the heroes of Marvel in this moment in time, the Green Goblin is so satisfied. He's the one who made Spider-Man run away like a whipped dog. Dr. Octopus is angry it's not him. Kraven the Hunter still wants to track him down. The Vulture is like, why would the Green Goblin beat him when I, the Vulture, couldn't? Well, maybe because he's better than you. Then we go to the superhero side of things where, Johnny is reacting poorly to the news, and the Thing is like, hey, what are you looking so gloomy about, hothead? I thought that webhead was number one on your hate parade. I love Ben Grimm so much. Oh, the one-liners that that Stan gives him. Chef's kiss. And we'll get to Johnny in a bit. Then we have the Avengers who are like, yeah, too bad about Spider-Man. He puts all our costume crime fighters on a bad light. And we get that old adage about wasps and spiders being natural enemies. Not really so much in nature, but they wrote that, so we're going to say it. So the Avengers have given up on Spider-Man, which, to be fair, they haven't actually really met him that much. Iron Man called him like once on the phone. We've had like the reaction. Oh, Iron Man did meet him in the annual, and Thor flew past him, and he's interacted with Giant Man and the Wasp in that one Tales to Astonish, but that's about it. He hasn't really met Cap yet. And then Daredevil, about how last time he met Spider-Man, his instincts told him that he was a valiant fighter. But how could the sharp senses of Daredevil have been so wrong? Everyone's so willing to think you're a coward the moment you run away from a fight. You don't know the context. You don't know anything. Oh, Marvel Universe. But of course, there's one person smiling through all this, and that's Jolly J. Jonah Jameson, who is on cloud 9 right now. The Masked Menace is being dealt with. Oh, it's so excellent for Jay. And we see Peter at home with Aunt May, and we see a misname, Mrs. Watkins instead of Watson. This is the first actual appearance of Anna Watson, if I remember correctly, as she's going to take care of May while Peter has to go to school. And in the process, after he's done with school, he runs straight back home because he is just that concerned about Aunt May. And it's a very lovable feature of him, but it's also interfering with the superhero life. So in that process, we also see him talking to his schoolmates. Flash Thompson, ride or die, is defending Spider-Man with his final breath, and Peter is like taken aback by it. And at this point, Liz invites him to go see the new Peter Sellers movie, and he can't do it because he's just torn between her and Betty. He really wants to be with Betty, but he can't think about girls right now. He's got to think of a way to earn money because Aunt May's hospital bills, they're piling up. So what does he do? He goes to a Midtown office building, Ace Picture Company, to try to become not a movie star this time around, but an actual interesting idea. Him being a part of a kid's trading card set and earning some money off of that. It was really huge back in the day. I mean, I remember growing up in the 90s, how many different cards there were. And this is before even Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh got into the game. Like, there were superhero cards all over the place, your baseball cards, football cards, stuff like that. So this is a good idea, but unfortunately, Spider-Man is a coward. So no one cares. Even though this would be such an easy way to make money, not only for this guy, but also for Spider-Man. He just puffs the smoke in his face, and that's it. And he sees some crooks about to break in somewhere, but all he can think of is Aunt May. So instead of preventing it, he just calls the police to report a crime. And that's it. So he gets back home, sees Aunt May is okay. The doctor's there. He's concerned, but doctor says, no, it's just regular checkup. Nothing to really concern yourself with here. And Peter tries to call, Betty and apologize about what happened, but she hangs up on him. But there is one happy person yet again, and that's J. Jonah Jameson, who's even asking, what's that, Peter Parker? I feel so good these days. I even like him. Where has he been keeping himself lately? And Betty explains about his aunt and Jonah, the good man, ever willing to look out for his employees, even the ones who work freelance, tells him, look, we'll never let it be said that big-hearted J. Jonah Jameson doesn't look after the people who work for him. Let's do something generous for them. Send her a get well card. not throw a little money his way, nothing like that. Get her a get well card, but don't seal the envelope. You can send it for a penny cheaper that way. Say, you're not still mad at Parker, are you? You should learn to forgive and forget, like I do, which is not a really good biblical principle, but consider your source here in JJ. Everyone else is like, man, he's been so happy ever since that Spider-Man being a coward has been revealed. It's like, I wish he'd become his grouchy old self again. At least we understood him that way. And he's just on cloud nine. You gotta love Jolly Jonah at his finest here, getting everything he ever wanted from this ordeal. But we do have to move on. Peter is, trying to figure out how can he make money. He can't do it. Tries to call Betty. She won't answer him. She's not ready. He considers, what should I tell her? That I'm Spider-Man? Maybe that'll help things. He gets very angry, tries to meet her outside the office, but she runs away from him. Jonah interferes, tells him, hey, yeah, you see any good news photos for me? I don't need Spider-Man anymore because he's finished. Betty getting upset. Peter then says, hey, I make this webbing. I have made a huge scientific advancement. I should patent this. I should get with people who know what they're doing and make some money off of it. But they're not that impressed by it for some arbitrary reason. It can only last for an hour, but still, all you got to do is mess with the formula. And Peter even brings that up and like, we don't want to worry about that. And yeah, is this like the smartest idea Peter had to go to these random scientists? No, but it's still something he could have made some money off. This is something you could use like for a temporary, sealing of skin just for something like that, or just to keep something in place for just a little bit. Not every tape or what have you needs to be a permanent fixture or glue. There's something there, but as he's dealing with this, the Sandman appears. As he's distracted, his spider sense doesn't really go off, and Peter's like, hey, look, I don't have time to fight, buddy. And Sandman's not taking that for an answer. So he tries to fight Spider-Man, and in the process, Peter continues to run away. The kids are angry at him. His kid's sister could beat him up. But of course, there's still one happy person in this world, and that's J. Jonah Jameson. What a lovely sight. Oh, what a heartwarming episode. Did you see Spider-Man revealed in all his delicious cowardice? Peter then switches to his civilian clothes. Sandman sees him, says, hey, you seen Spider-Man? And he tells him he didn't, must have gone in the other direction. He goes back to see Aunt May. And once again, Miss Watkins instead of Watson, the wrong name is had. If you get J. Jonah Jameson, a rerun of the top story of Spider-Man fleeing. Peter is, the floating heads of guilt are there with, is this one of the first times we see that? Oh my gosh. It's such a staple of Spider-Man, the floating heads of guilt of, the people that are ashamed of him or the people he couldn't save. It's such a huge staple of him. And there's one person who is massively upset by this, and that is the Human Torch. It's like, he can't believe what they're saying about Spider-Man, So he's going to go out. He's going to do something. He flames on, leaves the Fantastic Four behind. He even reads a little on the fence, but hey, he thinks that Spider-Man's behavior is strange and things like teenagers who can figure him out. So, Human Torch, Johnny tries to get Spider-Man to meet him at the Statue of Liberty, which is where they met, Strange Tales Annual 2. Helpfully put with the editor's note there. Love it when they do that to call back the continuity. But as today goes on, Peter just doesn't want to leave his Aunt May. He's not able to do it. And Johnny is left wondering, is something wrong with Spider-Man? I mean, maybe he never saw the message. Maybe he's unconscious fighting a criminal. You don't know, but he also doesn't know because Peter didn't show up. And Flash is not taking this lying down. He believes in Spider-Man. He's got a plan. So remember, a couple issues ago, when Dr. Doom came around, he did have a Spider-Man costume. So what does he do? He dresses up as Spider-Man once more. To prove that Spider-Man isn't a coward, he is going to dress up as Spider-Man to fight some crooks who, by the way, think Spider-Man is a coward right now. So his plan is foiled pretty much instantly, and no one ever claimed Flash was a genius. And he's beaten up by the crooks. He's found by the cops, and told her, hey, like, I know who you are. You're Flash Thompson. Like, there's no way you're Spider-Man. And we get, I want to focus on something a little quickly here. Notice the skin color of our cop here. This may be, if not one of the first, if not the first, I don't think it's the first because Gabe's been there, Sergeant Fury. Yeah. So it's not the first. And we haven't gotten to Black Panther yet. So yeah, that's still 20 some issues from now. But we have one of our first representations of African Americans. Now, back in the day, they made him this like weird chalky gray. And it's that weird sense of inclusionary for a good purpose. Say, hey, this is a positive male role figure in as a policeman who happens to be African American. Like, special attention isn't brought to it. Like, there's no like, hey, we're virtue signaling here, guys. We're doing a good thing. This is like, no, this is a very subtle way of including that. And I do want to praise the comic for that. It's very interesting. So Peter sees that Flash is okay, but Flash is upset in the midst of all this because, people just don't believe him. Spider-Man is a good guy. And hey, Peter even has a nice moment with him. Says it's not what he wanted to say, to think that Spider-Man was some big zero, but Flash isn't ready to hear it. He's too hot-headed. And as they're facing off against each other, Peter sees Betty with another guy. And that makes him even more upset. He goes back home to check on Aunt May, and he throws away his Spider-Man outfit for the first time. And yeah, there we go. Sorry, I accidentally skipped ahead. Yeah, I believe this is the first time this happens. Of course, the big cover was at 51, 52. Oh, and I think did I say Mary Jane shows up in 46 last time? I think it's actually 42. I think I got the issue wrong. Or maybe it's 50 is the Kingpin, 51 is Spider-Man no more. Yeah. Regardless, we'll get there when we get there. But this is huge. He's kind of considered giving up before, but like, this is a lot. It's not making him any money. He's going to throw it away. But Aunt May has gotten up out of her wheelchair and he's afraid, but she tells him, nonsense. I know when I'm feeling better. You don't want to make an invalid of me, do you? And it's that sense of, yeah, he wants to protect her. He wants to take care of her, but he's got to let her live. Yeah, she's old. She's a little fragile than most, but she's still a person. Don't coddle her. And she gives him a rising speech. Even though I'm an old woman, I'm not a quitter. A person needs gumption, the will to live, to fight. You mustn't worry about me so much, Peter, dear. We Parkers are tougher than people think. And this is one of those moments in time for Marvel history that are so crucial that you wouldn't think it would matter that much. But because of what she says here, Spider-Man continues to be a thing. Peter Parker continues to fight the good fight that he was just about to give up on. Because Aunt May was willing to speak boldly here. And I'm not going to skirt past that. That is extremely well done characterization and well done writing. Like, look, because you just see her as this fragile old bag who always ends up being hurt or sick or dying. But no, there is something to her. She has that gumption. She has the will to live and to fight. And that's something that has always inspired her nephew. And it's going to keep doing that. So he, realizing what's up and angry about everything that's going on, he destroys the Daily Bugle. He goes back, gets his Spider-Man outfit again, puts it on, and Spider-Man is back in action, baby. That's what it's all about. This is a fantastic issue. This could easily be one that I didn't like, just focusing on the wrong things, but it makes it all work together. The characterization we get, yeah, is it lame that most of the Marvel heroes kind of give up on Spider-Man and the public again gives up on him because of the Daily Bugle? Yes, it's stupid. I hate it. But it shows his real friends right now. Yeah, sure, Spidey and Daredevil have teamed up once, but they don't know each other. Sure, Spider-Man and Giant Man and the Wasp have teamed up once. They don't know each other, but he and Johnny have teamed up multiple times, as we've covered on this show. He knows him. Flash Thompson knows Spider-Man. And he knows Spider-Man's not a coward. He's going to fight the good fight. He doesn't understand what's going on, but he still believes in him. So the fact that these two people, these two hot-headed egotists, who are very similar in some ways, still believe in him, that helps the story a lot. Then you get to Aunt May. Like I said, that scene is so pivotal. That changes Marvel history forever. And I'm not just being like, after this issue, nothing will ever be the same. Like, without her saying that, we don't have Peter Parker coming back to be Spider-Man in the same way. Maybe he does eventually. But he might have given up here. And that would have huge ramifications because, as will be retconned later on, like Mary Jane knows who he is this whole time. So if he had given up now, would she have had the same respect? Would she have still gone out with him? If he had denied part of himself, he was pretending to be something that he wasn't. There's that, all the people that he saved as Spider-Man, the people he inspired as Spider-Man, the times he teamed up with other Marvel heroes and saved the day. A lot of that doesn't happen without that speech. So I'm giving this issue a 9 out of 10. I wasn't expecting that when I first read it. I was like, I kind of remember being a little down on this, but actually reading through it again, seeing what was going on, this is well done. The art is amazing. The plotting's amazing. The story is amazing. The characters are amazing. Like, this is amazing Spider-Man. You cannot go wrong with this. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for heading out here and continuing on this journey with me. So until next time, webheads, see ya.